Hey everybody, I'm just doing a spontaneous podcast here. I didn't really prepare for this at all, but I just got tired of the AI stuff and I decided I'm just going to talk to you about it, and I won't take much time, but sometimes it's better just to talk about it than to keep texting because I don't seem to be getting my point across. If you remember a few years ago, well, maybe 30, there was an ad that ran on TV that said, is it live or is it Memorex? And you were trying to tell the difference between if it was a live person talking or if it was recorded on the Memorex tape that you play in a tape player, cassette. And now we have, is it live or is it AI? And I'm just appalled that not only can people not tell the difference between, it's a little hard to tell, but they can't tell the difference between it's obvious that it's not real. And I'm going to talk to you about that a little bit. AI is fake, it's artificial, it's false, it's manipulated by human beings. It's not real. And it's a problem if you want to believe it's real, and we'll get into that. You asked me how I can tell if something's AI, and I'm going to give you some clues that you can look at when you look at a photo, when you look at an image, and you'll be able to tell that it's AI. One person recently gave me a clue that I could add to my list, and the people have no pores on their skin. They also have no flaws on their skin. You can zoom in on the photo. If you know how to zoom in, you should click on the photo, isolate it, and zoom as much as you can. You won't see any flaws or pores on their skin. Another thing is, on those comparisons that say then, when the child was a baby and now when the child is grown up, it's usually a black and white photo compared to a color photo, but they're both very, very good images. And the black and white photo looks like it was taken yesterday, not 30 years ago. It should look like a photo. It should look like somebody took a picture of a photograph with a little bit of shine on it or something, but it doesn't. It looks amazingly digital and perfect. I know we had digital imagery availability like 25, 30 years ago, but not like today. So that should be your first clue. In the first image, you often have the person like staring off at nothing. Like you've seen the kid with Down syndrome that got the award for working at McDonald's for 33 years. Now they have a woman with Down syndrome who also got the award for working there for 33 years. There was a man who actually got that award for working there for 33 years. Neither image of him in the AI images are real. That's not Larry. How can you tell? In the first image of Larry, he's staring off into space at nothing. That's a big hint. You see that a lot with AI. And he, in the second image, he's staring right at the camera and smiling. That's the way they compare. That's how you can tell, one way. Secondly, how you can tell with AI is there's always an indicator that there's trouble with the fingers or toes, or they may have more than one. They've gotten away from that a little bit, but sometimes they have color issues, or they're a little bit slightly deformed, or from one picture to the next, it doesn't look the same. The earlobes are longer or bigger or distorted. There's one of a woman where her earring is way up here instead of on her earlobe. These are little indicators that you can check and see. And then you have the AI stories, the Chat GPT stories, which are totally false. And if you're even remotely moderately good at telling story, you can do better than these stories. And some of them are ridiculous, but you believe them. What? There's no location. It doesn't say in Newark, New Jersey, this happened. There's no location. There's no name. Often it's just a first name. Often there's no name. There's these little girls. One little girl got rescued by some dog that stayed with her for 3 days under a collapsed house in the Texas flood. Who is it? There's no name of a little girl. There's no name of a dog. There's no rescue situation names of a person who rescued her. There's the image of her with the dog is different in each photo. The dog's different and she's different. Her hair's red in one and brown in the other. Her eyebrows are different. Just be good at this. Do you ever play hidden object games where you compare one photo to the next? This is not hard stuff, people. The clothing is often ridiculous. Why would Patrick Mahomes be wearing his jersey to rescue people in the floods? But yet you have people commenting on this stuff saying, "Oh, it's such a beautiful, selfless act when a multimillionaire goes and does these things." Well, they're not doing these things. They're not there rescuing people. They're not there singing songs to them in the shelter. There is no shelter. These people are back with their families. That have been rescued, or they're somewhere out of the area. They're not sitting there in shelters with flood waters down the road. It's not happening. There's no truth to the stories. You won't find these stories in the media, or you'll find them and they're vastly different than what you're actually seeing out there. They're not the same. You don't see the celebrity on a video. That would be a great clue. A video interacting with these victims or the families of the victims. You don't see it. You just see these AI images, but yet you want to believe it. Why are these people doing this? Why are these pages creating these? Well, I call them scam bots, because they are foreign entities that are creating these things for you in the hopes that you'll believe them, in the hopes that you'll put a like on them, that you'll put some emo thing about how it made you feel so wonderful. Oh, get this out of here. And how your heart is just so touched, and what an amazing thing, because now that you've made this comment, they've got your info. They've got your profile. They can go in and they can look at you, and they can data mine your friend directory. If you put your birth date or any identifying information about yourself in your about section, now you've made it a lot easier to hack you or scam you. And then you'll cry a month later on Facebook, "I've been hacked. Somebody cloned my profile. Now they've got my info." Well, how do you think that happened? It happened because you clicked on, not just made a comment maybe, but clicked on the story in their link where they said, "Wow, look at what happened here with Jelly Roll. Jelly Roll donated $50 million, and he went and sang at this little girl's funeral." And they got a picture of him by a casket that's about this big. And people are like believing this. Fortunately, I'm seeing more and more people commenting on these ridiculously fake sites that it's false. And then when I comment on these sites that it's fake and get out of here, scam bot, and go back to your own foreign third world country, they'll say to me a canned post like, "I'm so glad you responded to me. Thank you for your reply. And please let me message you, or please send me a message." It's starting. They want to make that one-on-one communication. And if I'm some 72-year-old woman who Facebook is this really neat tie to the outside world, and I don't usually get on social media, I might just go ahead and message that person saying, "Hi, here I am. You told me to message you." And then, a month later, they've got $30,000 of my money. And how did that happen? Gullible. You don't want to be gullible. And it's happening every single minute of every day. All it takes is 1 out of every 10,000 people looking at that particular post, and they win. And that doesn't cost them anything. They just make a post. They make some stupid story up. I made one up on my wall. It's way down now because I've made so many posts about this stuff, about Oprah Winfrey. If you want to look at my profile, you can scroll down and see my story about Oprah Winfrey to point out how ridiculous this is, how easy it is to make this stuff up. Another thing you can find out on these scam bot profiles is if you go to the profile, often they'll have a foreign name. They don't disguise it. Some weird name like Rashi Mutwaha, and you think, okay, but why don't you think, hey, this guy's not in the United States or Canada. He's way over, in India or Pakistan or Bangladesh. There's one called Bangla Vines that posts all the time. That's out of Bangladesh. And part of it's Pakistani. These people aren't out just for their own self-interest, to be nice and kind to you. They want info. They want money. So you need to look at that. Another thing, you'll see that these pieces of information these weird AI posts on sites like, you won't see this on TV. That's the name of the group or the page. Well, of course you won't. It's fake. Or they're on humor sites. Humor is right in the title of the group. Satire is right in the title of the group. It's fake. So why you would believe it is beyond me. But I think part of it is people want to believe it. They want to have some heartwarming story during a time of tragedy. Well, that's all fine and good, but just make sure it's true. Because if you want to believe something that isn't true, and you're only fooling yourself, and no good can come of it. Either nothing's going to come of it, and that's fortunate for you, or something bad will come from it down the road, and you don't know who to blame. You can only blame yourself when these things happen. So I call them scam bots. There's no celebrity interacting with victims' families in this. None. How do these people privately donate money and these weirdos find out about it, but the media does not? Come on, just stop. So we need to be discerning. Discernment is urgent here. We need to be thinking about what is going on and why are these people doing this. And I told you they're after money. You will see it on social media, but if you Google the person's name or the story, you won't find it. Or you'll find some vastly different version of it that they've totally twisted and made into something that isn't true. Because they want you to think that they're telling you the story the way it really is, and they're not. So I'm asking you to share this podcast. And also, do not believe anything is true unless you research and verify it yourself by plugging the information into a search engine. If nothing comes up except Facebook and Instagram posts, you know it's false. Come on, it's false. You need something like a Fox News or even a CNN News, some report about it that shows you it's true. And the video is the key. Now, AI is getting into video, but they're way behind. Unless you are a professional expert, you can't make an AI video look good. So you won't see these sites putting up videos of their fake stories because they're really bad. I've seen a couple and they are horrible. I mean, it's so obvious that they're fake that people don't even comment on them except they laugh. So do your own research. Please don't say this. Please don't say, hey, Janice, I know it's a fake. I know. But please, I want to believe it. So I'm going to believe it and stop bothering me because it makes me feel good. Okay, because a month from now, when you get hacked, don't come crying to me. Because you got hacked because you clicked on the story about the little picture that made you feel good on somebody's scam bot site. That's what they do. They hack, they scam, they data mine you. They have ulterior motives. If you believe that there's a Satan, and I do, this is how Satan lures people by tugging on your emo. He's not some big bad dude that smacks you around. He's subtle. He's a beautiful thing, and he lures you in with his lies, mixed with truth. Always mixed with truth. You're either going to let him do it, or you're not. And here's the verse that you need to claim, or the couple verses, so that you don't do this anymore. And you need to, paste this on your mirror, paste it on top of your phone, because unless you do this, and you get lured into this, you're in trouble. I'm telling you right now, you're in trouble. It's Proverbs 3:5-6. A lot of this is familiar to you, maybe. Trust in the Lord with all thy heart, and lean not on thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he will direct thy paths. So who's directing your path today? Satan or the Lord? Now, let me show you a couple fake things, and you can cry, or you can say, wow, I didn't know that, or, oh, that's obvious to me. I don't know if you can see that. It's backwards, but the tumor's gone. Wish me luck and brighter days. I got a little thing in there. Okay. So that's totally fake. Her skin is absolutely flawless. She's a beautiful kid. And there's a ton of these same exact type of sign-holding kids on this site called The Stroop. Look up that word Stroop, S-T-R-O-U-P, and maybe that'll give you a hint what's going on here. Let me find you another one. There's so many. Here's Carrie Underwood crying. She's not there. Where is she rescuing anybody? But they say she was there. These are other things, other AI photos of people, kids and a dog being rescued. Those aren't even real photos. But Carrie Underwood wasn't there. That's just some picture of her crying. This site here, Chris and Jasmine, backwards, but they have 2.4 million followers, and they are the top AI video creators. They also create the stories. They created that story of the black baby being adopted by the white woman who the baby was left at the hospital, and this woman was miraculously allowed to adopt it. 24-year-old single woman with no children was allowed to adopt this baby. It didn't even have to go through the system or anything. Oh, sure, you can have the baby. Yeah. And people believed it because they wanted it to be true. So did AOC do this? Most of you would say, no, AOC wouldn't do anything. But what's the difference between AOC and Dolly Parton or Eric Clapton or Peyton Manning? What's the difference? None of those people did any of this. This is one about a Down syndrome child then growing up and having a baby. And then the baby grows up and becomes an astronaut. Well, look at her baby's hand. It's massive. It's deformed. She should have been, like I said in my post, a sumo wrestler or a wrestler. Because that's obviously AI. It's not a deformed hand. But people you gotta look at the whole photo and you gotta analyze it. There's more, and just quickly, let me see if I can find the one I want to show you. Oh yeah, this is the last one, and this one just should really give you a clue. Black baby, white, adopting mom. Child graduates from college, mom cries, but what's wrong here? Can you tell? Why is his hand whiter than hers? And he's obviously African American. AI. And if you look, his pinky is kind of deformed there too. But this is the problem. It's subtle. It's not obvious. They're getting better at it. So I recommend that you really don't act on these things unless you're going to call them out. Tell them this is fake. People are wrong to believe you, and we need to be more discerning. So, again, who's directing your path today? Please share this podcast. I'm going to post it on a few other sites. I'm going to post it again later on my wall. I'm going to put it on YouTube. We cannot be gullible anymore. I am going to keep calling you gullible all day long as you are doing this, and I will argue with you if you argue back with me, because you need to see what you're doing. If you get hacked, remember what I said. You clicked on something that was not real, that some guy in Pakistan was sitting in some cafe with about 30 other guys with a bunch of computers hitting that button and hoping that you'll be their next target. So that's all I had to say to you today.